The following show contains views and opinions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Audience discretion is advised.
Howdy, everybody, and welcome to Thespian Talk, the first one of 2020. I know, it's March. I blame my now former profession because at one point I said, you know what, I'm kind of tired of it, and so I just said, fuck it, I'll get off of it and everything else be damned. And quite honestly, it was doing hell on my mental and physical health at that point, you know. More mental than physical, but that's a whole nother thing. I am your host, Gomer the Ranting Thespian, for those who are new, and with me is Michelle.
Hello.
And we have two new co-hosts added to the roster this time around. We have Rosen Thorne.
Hello, everybody.
And if you recognize that voice, yes, he has been on the show before. And we have a newcomer, somebody brand new to the show, but not necessarily somebody who's never listened to the show. We have Scolipendra.
What's up, guys?
So yeah, with this being the introduction of two new co-hosts added to the roster, there's also another reason for that. Kat, who up to this point has been pretty much a staple on the show since 2012, I think. She's taking some time back, you know, stepping back from podcasts and everything, so she doesn't go mad, bad, crazy pants and kill everybody.
Good plan.
I put it like that, but in all seriousness, you know, she needs to take some time back from just podcasting in general, not just this show, but just all over the place, and you know that's understandable. She may be back, and may pop back at some point. She may not, but you know, that's where she is. That's where she's going to be for a while, and that's perfectly okay. And Erin is still popping around. Is just try as I might to get the schedule worked around. He still managed to miss this one. It's not his fault, though. It's not his fault. Just, you know, sometimes schedules happen and things happen, and that's why we didn't have a show for a few months. So since we do have two new co-hosts, I am going to do a thing I don't normally get to do, and that is have each of them tell us a little bit something about themselves. Scolipendra, since you are the newest member of this show, and you've never been on before, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Well, basically, I'm just, you know, some guy. And, what the fuck? Anyway, I do music sometimes, and I'm also kind of just, you know, I do direct a, freaking animation. It's an Undertale fan project. I'm kind of a director for that.
Ooh.
You know, yeah, it's called Inverted Fate. Well, I mean, I'm not the one who writes it, but I mean, I did get a dubbing cast together. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Otherwise, I just kind of hang out at home and I don't know, just browse Discord and shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I do.
Yeah. And also, fun fact, he is also one of my patrons. He's just,
Hell yeah.
just in full disclosure, yeah, he does give me money a month. But
yeah.
and that's all cool. But somebody who doesn't give me money, at least not yet,
Oh, look at you! You have support. You have income to support people with.
Yeah. But speaking of such things as in terms of podcasting, Rosen, since the last time you have been on this show, what have you been up to?
Well, I am currently on hiatus in wrestling training, but I'm going to be back at that bit by the end of the year. I started the One Crazy Weekend podcast, which Gomer is editing.
Mm-hmm.
I started another podcast, which has yet to debut, but hopefully will be debuting soon. And I've started a JoJo Bridge project, which is currently in the works. Also, I am doing my own streams on Twitch, along with streams every Thursday with Tismarty as tag team, and that's about it.
Sweet. Yeah, and also One Crazy Weekend can be found, just like this podcast, over on rtgomer.com.
Yes. Also, during this, I'm going to be playing Doom.
Yeah. So if there's any noise over, I will do my best to get it in post, but who knows?
Well, I have it muted, so.
Okay. and in the background, you also heard Miss Nightmare, who has been on the show before, but but she's not on this episode, I don't think. But
We talked about it beforehand.
but speaking of women on the podcast, Michelle, how have you been the past few months?
Mostly good. Today I basically am the deaf, which is why if you hear coughing and sneezing, then apologies.
Yeah,
I have become the common cold, destroyer of podcasts.
Pretty much. I've been reassured by a friend of mine who's done some more research than I did that it's not COVID-19 because one of the symptoms that is not COVID that I have is a drippy nose.
yeah.
So I'm looking really sexy at the moment.
Oh my.
But in terms of projects, I guess some people know this. I am officially the voice of Chiaki in Zenith Warrior Princess's current run of it's starting with One Piece and going through the next one's Lego Movie, which I've recorded, and there's a couple other projects we were chatting about, which also stars Miss Nightmare as Kana.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
We were just talking about your role as Kana.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I can't wait to see it. I just want to see how our voices come out with the cats.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, and then you mentioned COVID-19, or as most of us know it as the coronavirus. And no, despite what you may have heard on social media, people are not stopping the purchase of Corona beer because of it. Because Americans are stupid, but we're not that stupid. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not.
I mean, I don't drink Corona beer because it tastes like ass, but you know.
I don't drink Corona beer because 99% of beer I'm just not into. There's one beer that I am into, and most longtime listeners will know it, Lambic.
Nice.
Just bring that shit over from Belgium, and
Oh my god!
Oh my god, I love that.
Hold on a second. We have a breaking update.
Uh-oh. A breaking update.
Casey's just handed me a piece of paper. This is not a joke. We just got on our door, on our apartment door, what you need to know about coronavirus disease 2019.
Wait, what year?
We got a message from the C.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is already out of date from the CDC.
Wow!
Great job.
Not necessarily. It's dated after the first cases, and the first cases were in 2019.
Okay.
That is fair. But yeah. With that, I've also done my own independent research, and by that I mean I just looked at a bunch of Twitters that actually are run by like doctors and people like that. And the biggest takeaway is if you don't have it, and you want to make sure you don't have it, wash your damn hands. More often than you
like
normally
Filbert.
do.
Oh god, yeah.
Turn
I
the
mean,
page,
I do
wash
my
your hands. Turn the page, wash your hands.
Yeah. Like, and I'm no slouch in washing my hands either, it's like, especially if, well, I'm going to be indelicate, especially after taking a shit, because of course, because at the bare minimum, subscribe to George Carlin's routine. When I wash my hands, when I shit on them, subscribe to that at the very least, but with this, do a little more.
Hey, Goma.
Yes.
You do know I'm eating, right?
Well,
I had a thing, but I'll wait then.
I'll let you know.
But speaking of eating, well, okay, before we get to the eating, coronavirus, basically, if you don't have it, just wash your damn hands and take care of yourself. That's really all it is. And, of course, the biggest thing that this is actually exposing is all the racism, xenophobia, and the bullshit that the capitalist monkeys up at the top want to put everybody else through. But
because it came from China, people are blaming it on the Chinese.
Yeah, kind of like how they did with SARS.
Yep, and bird flu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although, did you guys see that thing that there is a warehouse factory, some kind of manufacturing place in Wuhan that has their logo is very similar to Umbrella Corp, just like color swapped?
Oh dear.
I put that on the marketing department.
Yeah. Oh, so going into eating, because that's a perfectly good segue, I guess. I saw this meme shared on Twitter, and it's specifically marked as a boomer meme. And as we go through it, we may not be able to hit all of them in depth, but we'll hit a good chunk of them in depth. It's called Eating in the 50s. Because, because that's the whole thing. The good old days are back in the 50s, where the wife was in the home, the black people were in the ghettos where they belonged. Bear in mind, I do not subscribe to that. Thank you very much.
Yes, this is an obvious joke.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Yes.
I'm reminded of that Vine I told you about, but I unfortunately couldn't find. Mm-hmm. Talking about Frank Sinatra. I miss when songs were about white people sex written by the mafia.
I mean, so of course this goes into eating in the 50s, and of course it's some old guy yelling at Cloud. But the first line,
Doesn't Cloud Stray have enough to deal with?
I know, right? First line of this: pasta had not been invented; it was macaroni or spaghetti.
What?
Somebody touch my spaghetti!
Does he not know what spaghetti is?
I mean, clearly not.
Obviously. And just let me put it like this. See, pasta has been around for a long ass time.
Yeah, huh?
So that's the first
literally
thing.
centuries.
Yeah, literally centuries. And it includes stuff like the lasagna noodles, fettuccine, spaghetti and macaroni. Those are literally pasta.
I love pasta. Holy crap.
Yes. Curry was a surname.
I mean, it still is.
Yeah, I mean...
have you heard of a little country called, I don't know, India?
Yeah.
I feel like this is too Merkin to use the word surname.
Yeah, just and also curry was invented long before the 1950s. Just there's also that as well. If to take not just xenophobic but also an idiot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Such as a takeaway was a mathematical problem.
To quote the Cat in the Hat movie, because why not? You're not just wrong, you're stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. I think I still hear people use takeaway, but I prefer the other term, eating out, for obvious reasons.
We use takeaway or takeout still, so culturally.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's 2020. We take away ass now.
There you go. Pizza sounds like a leaning tower somewhere. Okay, that's just a bad pun.
Terrible pun.
That's just no. I gotta skip around a bit to where I get to my notes. All chips were plain. Bullshit. No.
That is a no.
No. Because here's a fun fact, and I looked up some of this shit before I put it in here because I wanted to make sure I was right. At least in terms of America, we got flavored chips for the first time in 1954. So yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Here's a fun fact. Do you know where Doritos were invented?
Where were they invented?
Disneyland.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, I can see it.
They had a chip factory, and I guess they would just take I don't know the full story. I just know that there is a place in, I think it was the Mexican restaurant they have there, that they would just make chips, and I guess some of them they changed some of them. I am just remembering this fun fact off of Disney lore. So yeah, this requires more research, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Point is, invented in California.
Yeah. Let's see. Chickens didn't have fingers in those days.
They still don't?
They don't have them now.
Oh, boy. It's gotta be a troll.
You would think. But there are people out there who do think this way.
Never assign to malice what you assign to stupidity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I did find out an interesting fact looking up chicken fingers and such. I didn't realize they were invented so late within my lifetime. So, okay then. So I know Michelle and I would predate them. I don't know how old you are, Scolipendra, but at least half of us predate chicken fingers.
Yeah, I'm 28, so.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Cooking outside was called camping. So is grilling.
Yeah, I was gonna say, barbecuing, you idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when was barbecuing popularized in the States? Because I'm not sure about here or even in Australia, where I tend to think of barbecuing as an Australian pastime before I think of it as anything else.
Well, here's the thing. I have the note for that.
Cool.
Barbecuing, and as we know it, barbecuing grills on the outside and all that, been around since 1954. The same year we got, actually, barbecue-flavored potato chips.
Awesome.
So,
Fancy that.
yeah.
So this person wants to go back to the 40s.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And there's the last one I actually have a note for. Kebab was not even a word, never mind a food. Also, bullshit.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
And racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
In fact-
that's implied, but yes.
Yeah. In fact, the word kebab, which, again, got note for it, the word kebab likely came to English in the late 17th century from the Arabic kebab, partly through Urdu, Persian, and Turkish.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So we learn things. Let's see. Surprisingly, muesli was readily available. Yeah. It was called cattle feed. Do you eat oatmeal, sir? Because it's almost the same thing from what I understand and how I understand it based on my limited research of it.
Muesli is kind of rolled oats, but you also have like fruits and some nuts in it, depending on what you have, and you tend to have it cold with just milk or soy or whatever if you're intolerant. But yeah, it's you wouldn't necessarily have, unless you want a warm milk with it, you wouldn't make it the same way as you make oatmeal.
Yeah.
So
it's basically cold oatmeal.
Kinda, but it has more fruit and nut depending on which variety you get.
Yeah. So let's see. Water came out of the tap. If someone had suggested bottling it and charging more than gasoline for it, they would have become a laughingstock. No, at that point, if we had bottled water back in the 50s when gas was, I don't know, maybe 20 cents a gallon. I don't know. I did not get that particular one. But I'm pretty sure bottled water would have been maybe 5 cents. So, yeah.
I have a video that I'm going to link you. Is basically why Dasani water is not sold in the UK, and the story is fascinating.
And as somebody who gets Dasani water, oh dear.
No, it's not dissing it. It's just giving the history of why it didn't work in the UK.
Okay. And the last one on this list, the one thing that we never ever had on or at our table in the 50s was elbows, hats, and cell phones.
Oh, because they didn't exist in the 50s, you numpty.
Boomer.
It's like, yeah, exactly. Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, I made a joke that I was quite proud of, and I did post into the Discord and Twitter, but I was listening to the Monkees at work. It was like the main theme tune, and it was like the Monkees in 1962, we're the young generation, and we've got something to say, me in 2020. Okay, boomer.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't say that as someone who likes the Monkees. You know, I enjoy the music still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of enjoying things, you know what I'm enjoying? Harvey Weinstein suffering in jail.
Yeah, that's fun time.
Yes, because it's like, he got away with so much bullshit. And then I say bullshit as though it's not horrible when he got away with so much horrible bullshit. And he's now paying for it. And now he's like, I'm old. He has to use a walker now. And now
He has to. He didn't have to going out of the court.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's just, no, dude. No, just take your lumps, die in prison, and fuck off. And give everybody else your fortune. Victims first.
Yep.
Of course. Yep.
Yeah, because fuck him. And oh, go ahead.
As anyone who's been following my Twitter knows, I am, like, for once, extremely passionate about the primaries because there's an issue that directly affects me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And I saw a great tweet about Biden that was like, people voting Biden in is just boomers getting one last fuck you in before they die.
I mean, they said that about Trump too, but yeah.
And they're both true.
Yeah. Very much so.
Please vote Bernie, please.
Yeah,
I would.
I'll do my part.
Yeah,
I would.
we do support Bernie Sanders here on this podcast. If we had been able to do one a couple of weeks ago, then it would have been kind of a split thing because see, when Warren was still in, I actually could get behind either of them.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah.
I was voting Warren until until Bernie edged it out barely.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I was like, all right. But yeah. And also, one last thing about Weinstein. Apparently, one of his spokespeople are saying that if he got like 5 or more years in prison, he would be suffering. I was like, you know what? Good.
Yeah,
You can suffer.
I saw that that post, and all the replies were just like, and.
Yeah, I mean, he was a freaking rapist. Rapists deserve to suffer.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Speaking of members of the male species, how do you feel about castration as punishment for rapists?
Do it.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you've proven you can't handle your dick responsibly. You don't deserve to have it.
Well,
Fair
no,
enough.
that's castration is the removal of the balls.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay,
We're not
that works.
Game on to Hagen style.
That's true. That's true.
Although removing their dicks would also be a good thing. Just leaves us like a little tube so they can pee. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's about it.
Ooh.
We want rapists to suffer on this show.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
definitely.
And and that's surprisingly a stance we have to take. But
Yeah. Well,
this is the world we live in. Whoa.
yeah. So another new thing I want to bring up. Well, I think I'll save that one for later. There is a Twitter I follow called Reddit Ships, where they just post a whole screen caps of like Reddit posts rather, where people are asking about relationship problems. There's one in particular, but I think I might save it for a little bit because it does get a little deep. No pun intended. But for now, we'll go ahead and we will take our break. And when we come back, we will have some actual news that we can talk about. That little political, but not too much. But
Hey,
you'll see what I mean.
and I might have an ad for you.
There you go. So, yeah, be right back. Hey folks, we'll get back to the show in a moment, but first I want to tell you about Patreon. Patreon is what I use to get around all of the YouTube adpocalypse bullshit, and while I don't have a lot right now, every little bit does help. And if you like what you hear or what you see on any of my videos or podcasts, head on over there. For as little as $1 a month, you can get all of these things early before anybody else does, and you can get them completely ad-free. Yeah, I know YouTube right now is technically ad-free, but at some point, I'm probably going to get big enough to where ads will start coming in, and those can be annoying, so you want to avoid that, right? If you go ahead and go now over to patreon.com/gomer21xx, leave $1, $5, doesn't matter how much, you can get all of these. Again, you can get them early, and you get them without ads, even when I reach the point on YouTube to where ads can be put on these videos. So it's a win-win. And you can even avoid the ads that go up on the Anchor versions that go out to all of the other websites that are out there. No ads. It's great. So that's patreon.com/gomer21xx. Howdy, folks. Gomer here, and yeah, it's been a while. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's been a while since we've done one of these, and yeah, we'll get back into the swing of things as time goes on, and as we get Scolipendra working in here and doing all of that. But I actually want to use this space here to recommend a thing. And I'm going to recommend a game on, if you got like your iOS, your Android or whatever on your mobile, then this one is free to pick up, free to play. And it's basically the mobile version of Lemmings. If you've played Lemmings since the 90s or what have you, you'll know the little guys that walk to their doom as they're trying to reach the exit, and it's your job to save them, give them different jobs or what have you. With the mobile version, it's a lot simplified as that used to be. Like you had a certain number of jobs you can give different lemmings, like diggers or bashers or what have you, and you had only a certain amount before you run out, and your lemmings, if the way is not clear enough, then your lemmings are screwed. In this case, it's not so. It's a lot simplified, and in the older games, or at least definitely the first one, I don't know about ones between the first one and this new one, if you had a blocker put in place, they were just lost. they were just lost and you couldn't do anything about it. Here, you can actually set up a blocker and then you can tell them to start moving again in either direction. Some of which works out very well in some puzzle solving. There are some downsides. You only have a limited amount of energy per level. And if you're like me and you want to save every lemming, you're going to use up a lot of your energy, which means you can complete 1, maybe 2 levels. And for the free versions, and if you just go in there free, you get, I think, 1 point of energy every 4 minutes. Or you can do like me, and if you really like it, you can throw down some money for like a subscription thing or whatever, and it doubles your energy, and it halves the time it takes to renew energy once you've spent it. But you don't have to. The game is perfectly playable without it. I threw down some money up for it because I felt it was worth it. It's a solid game. And yeah, there are ads and microtransactions, but it's a free game. They got to make their money somehow, right? But yeah, you've also got like little challenge levels. If you manage to get a ticket, you can try out the challenge levels. And the challenge levels, you have infinite of everything you ever need. But if a lemming dies, you lose the level. So it's a bit of a trade-off there. But yeah, if you got iOS, or I'm assuming on Android as well, well, check out Lemmings. It's a fun game. So yeah, back to the show. And we are back from our break.
We're back, baby.
Yes, we are back, and we are going to get into some news where hopefully things will be a little bit more organized. Yeah.
That wasn't the news?
No, that wasn't news.
I'm just shooting the shit.
Yeah, we got shooting the shit that sometimes brings in news, but then we actually have the news articles.
Yeah.
Hey, this also works as a good jumping off point if this is your first show. Yay! So this first one comes...
That's the advantage of never knowing what's going on.
Yeah. So this first news story comes out of Utah, of all places, which
boy.
makes me
Hi,
really... Yeah, hi, Erin.
Yeah, I was saying we probably, yeah.
Yeah, but...
Oh, well.
Things happen. And the Utah State Senate has unanimously passed a bill that would dispel fears of prosecution for plural marriage in a state known for its ties with the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or FLDS, where religiously based polygamy is common. SB 102, also known as the Bigamy Amendments, proposes to reclassify bigamy as an infraction instead of a felony, while violations of consent, including involuntary bigamy, the bill calls them, remain serious crimes with serious penalties attached. Cases of plural marriage between consenting adults would carry roughly the same import as a traffic ticket involving a fine and possible community service. The law maintains stiff penalties against other crimes committed in conjunction with polygamy, such as fraud, child abuse, sexual abuse, domestic abuse, and human trafficking, even adding steeper penalties for polygamy-based homicide or failure to pay child support. But the mere fact of polygamy, absent other law-breaking behavior, is no longer enough to net a prison sentence. And this is a step in the right direction.
Yes, I'm reminded of Claptrap from Borderlands. Yay! A good thing!
Yes. So, again, for those, if this is your first time, you don't know, I am in a polyamorous relationship. I am polyamorous myself, that sort of thing. And something like this that puts just the idea of polyamory, whether it's polygamy, polygyny, what have you, in a better position is good. And it is kind of weird how we in this country and other countries as well see marriage as just two people when why not three? Why not four? And I know somebody be like, well, see, that's the slippery slope we were talking about. Shut up. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just say if I wanted to marry not only my girlfriend, but also my friend out in Portland, for example, we cannot legally do that. But if it was legal to do so, I don't see why not, especially if everybody gets the same benefits. Oh, wait, I think I know why they're pushing the monogamous marriages, because too many people getting too many benefits, then all of the conservatives will go, and freak out. Yeah. Yeah.
Most unorthodox.
Yeah.
Wonderful thing.
Yes. So skipping down a little bit in our article, the bill's sponsor, Senator Deirdre Henderson, a Republican of Spanish Fork, notes that criminalization of plural marriage has done nothing to deter or eliminate the practice. Rather, it has driven it underground, putting strain on polygamous families and creating barriers to employment, education, and health care. The isolation creates an advantage for abusers who can manipulate the fear of legal sanctions to keep their victims in line. A quote here, in these isolated insular communities, that's where a lot of the problems can really escalate. And that's where the bad people can really, and have, weaponized the law in order to keep their victims silent and isolated in their control. Gee! A practice that is driven underground because of some sort of persecution, legal or otherwise. It keeps going even despite all of this, and it fosters more bad people, and thus that cycle keeps it looking bad instead of, maybe somebody in the government or somewhere looking at it and saying, oh, hey, wait a minute, we have bad people working in here. How about we go after the bad people and leave the people who are doing this and not hurting anybody else alone? Gee, sounds like another issue that's near and dear to my heart.
I mean, it sounds like you're just describing government.
Yeah. But in particular, all of these things, all of these arguments that she is making for putting, for this bill, all the stuff driving it underground, making it easier, giving an advantage to abusers, that sort of thing. They've done it with prostitution too.
See, I thought you were going to say abortion.
Well, abortion, yeah. Abortion.
They've done this with a lot of things before, Sam.
Yeah, it sounds like quite a few things, really.
Yeah, and that also, what Senator Henderson here is saying, though, gives me hope that people can understand this, not just for this circumstance alone, but also maybe people will start applying it to other instances, such as abortion, such as prostitution, such as drugs, just in general, drugs. Or
other drugs.
Yeah. So, and of course there are people that are like, oh no, we don't want this. It's like, no. Because they're like, oh wait, religious polygamy is akin to slavery. It's like most.
How?
Yeah, how? But at the end of the day, for my money's worth, if you are polygamous, polyamorous, whatever, you want to be in multiple relationships, that is fine. The biggest thing about polyamory is communication and trust, and. Yes. And if my girlfriend and I both trust another person to bring them in, we all trust each other, we all love each other, there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's being hurt. It's the stuff that people are being hurt over is the problem. Deal with that. So Scolipendra, since you are the newest member here, I'm going to let you have first crack at saying a few things about this.
Well, as you said, it's a step in the right direction. Yeah, I know there are some, the Mormon type of polygamy is not the same as, just regular-ass polyamory. I'm also in a poly relationship, so,
Yeah.
So I think this is a nice step in the nice direction. Step in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Michelle?
My main concern is it's the FLDS rather than the regular Mormons, because, like any religious sect, you put fundamentalist in front of it, they get a little bit more cuckoo crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does make it a little. Ooh. And it's like, yeah, I was like, what was that meme? I think one of us brought it up during the break. Was worst person has
breaking the worst person has a great opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like ooh, but again, also
or rather made
clock.
A great point, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Broken.
So for general poly people, if this does is a first step to expanding out from Utah and to anywhere that people are in poly relationships, then yeah, I can see the positive in there. It's just the the fundies part that's just getting me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's for good reason.
Marky Mark and the Fundy Bunch.
Yeah, there you go.
I actually have Christian friends who they're just nice people.
Yeah.
Just like Mark Wahlberg, there's probably a hate crime involved in the Funny Bunch.
but even they turn around and said, no, we can't be dealing with fundamentalists. Like, I found out they were Christian just from the way they would, like, chat to each other about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, but one of the guys is like, I believe in God, but don't actually subscribe to religion, because, you know, he feels he's felt God's presence.
Yeah.
And I kind of half-jokingly made the argument, said, well, in that instance, I felt Apollo's presence because I've seen the sun. He's like, that's your point of view. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, so he's like, it's a different point of view, but even when you get, and this is to any religion where you are chill with it, good for you, awesome.
Yeah.
When you start getting more extreme, even like before you get to fundamentalism, that's when people start getting aggy with you.
Yeah.
The internet has ruined the phrase "point of view" for me, because all I think is, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Oh God.
I mean, I've seen arguments towards that. It's an interesting argument to have.
Well, no, that's a direct line from Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's one of the more infamous lines because it's just so clunky.
Yeah, I haven't seen Sith in a while. And just on that point, I still haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, so...
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It depends on who you ask.
Like...
I like Doolittle, so, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it unfortunately does not have a dragon colonoscopy, but what movie does? Doolittle,
Yeah.
that movie does.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It actually contextually makes sense in the film, and apparently was in the book, so I'm not going to really bitch about that.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just funny.
Yeah.
It is.
I used to play bass for dragon colonoscopy.
With that, Rose, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, no, I pretty much agree with you guys. I'm not in polyamorous myself, but I feel like if as long as everybody's consenting adults, I don't give a fuck what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it should be the baseline, but it unfortunately isn't.
Yeah, very much should be.
Mm.
Oh, but
I don't really have anything to add to that. I think just yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So our next story comes out of Nova Scotia, and this.
Hi, Ethan.
Yes, this has an unfortunate name in here. A Nova Scotia man plans to file an appeal of a court ruling that upheld the province's decision to revoke a personalized license plate that bears his surname. Grabber. Literally spelled Grabher. All one word. Grabber.
Oh, I thought you meant Grabber.
No, just Grabher. Lone Grabher says the province infringed on his freedom of expression, but the Nova Scotia Supreme Court said that constitutionally protected right does not extend to government-owned plates. The Nova Scotia plate, which Grabber had for nearly 30 years, was revoked back in 2016 by the province's Registrar of Motor Vehicles after the agency received a complaint from a woman who said it promoted hatred toward women.
See, I would actually agree with the government on that one because, yeah, it's a government item.
Yeah. I can see that. It's like, okay, yeah, you don't want to stir the pot too much, but at the same time, it's like only one. That's all it took.
And all that time?
Oh, yeah, that is incredibly stupid.
Yeah, like okay, yeah. And in fairness, nobody probably thought of it because they're like, oh hey, we have the record here. It's literally his last name. Okay, whatever. You know, and that's probably what most people thought. I'm willing to bet. You know, if they had to think about it, they might be like, wait, what? No. I mean, in this case, the dude has an unfortunate name.
Yes.
Mm.
So that's just, and just, wow.
it's kind of funny. Before the podcast, I was doing what I do when I just want to have something in the background. I was watching Impractical Jokers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a game where they play receptionists at a focus group place, and they have to read off a list of fake names and try not to laugh. And one of them that came to mind was DISFATT BIGGE, Disfat Bidge.
Oh.
Oh dear.
So yeah. So Michelle, we're gonna start with you on this one. What are your thoughts on all of this?
It is an unusual name.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to see it in some context, like not the license plate, I'd be like, is that like someone being silly buggers? Like if I saw it in like a username or something, is like, are they being funny or what? But 30 years and one complaint. I mean, come on, grow up.
Yeah, like I can, like if you just put it on there, like in 2016, that would be. I guess that would be one thing, considering the culture and the nature of everything. You don't want to start
and
that, but it's already.
This doesn't state that the law or anything has changed either. That they've changed policy, does it?
Maybe this was a thing where they were waiting for people to actually notice, and nobody ever did.
Yeah, but it's like, oh god, it's like, what was it like shows like South Park or Simpsons or whatever, or Family Guy, where they would where they would look at an extreme like this. I think the episode I'm thinking of is the FCC episode of Family Guy, way back when they
with the musical number,
yeah. It was like it got like maybe triple or quadruple number, not quadruple digit complaints, and then they extrapolated that to like millions or whatever. I could see this being used as fodder for something like that, because it's like one woman, and when really it was 100 women, is or what have you. I say really, but yeah. So any thoughts, Scolipendra?
I mean, yeah, unfortunate name, but I mean I've seen more unfortunate. My mom worked with someone named Seymour Beavers, so yeah. Okay.
So on the subject, there is a swear that you guys are probably aware of, or maybe not. That I believe is actually a surname in your country, and also there's.
Sorry, it cut off the tree part of that word, so it just said yeah.
Anyway, which is, and then there's another first name which basically translates to horny. So Randy is obviously a popular name. We don't have it so much here for obvious reasons. And then the term wanker is basically one who enjoys masturbation, which is a surname that you have in the States. And my mom swears when she went to New York, she met a person called Randy Wanker.
That's gotta be a porn name.
Yeah, that does sound like a porn name.
Well, there is the famous baseball pitcher Randy Johnson who exploded a bird. That's not a joke. He was pitching, and he threw the ball, and a bird happened to fly by like the field of throw, and it just exploded.
Oh no!
Because the ball was going 100 miles an hour, it hit the bird, and poof, feathers everywhere.
Oh wow!
There's video of it. It's insane.
Oh,
Oh no!
That's crazy.
Yeah, it couldn't be helped. Fate was weird.
Yeah.
Destination right there.
Yeah, definitely.
It was meant to die before.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy B. Any last thoughts before we go to our next one?
This has been a weird week for license plates.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Because this week on What the Fuck's Wrong With You, there was a story about a guy who had expired plates that were expired since 1997, and he just never got around to fixing them.
Oh, yeah, that guy. What were you doing all that time? Seriously.
Go
what
away,
are the authorities doing?
Satan!
Yeah. So, so our next one, I just put it in here because this is just weird, even me being from the South United States. Whataburger. I don't know how many of you have heard of Whataburger, either here or in the audience. It's mostly Southern chain. I think pretty much all Southern chain. It's big in Texas, but they do have restaurants in places like Louisiana and even some here in Florida.
Ever since the East Coast West Coast rap rivalry stopped, our coasts have just been fighting about burger chains.
Yeah, basically. But Whataburger, some good burgers. And you know how most fast food places, if they come with like your condiments on there, it's usually like ketchup and mustard as the standard. They don't put ketchup on the burger. You have to put it on yourself, which I think is weird, but I manage.
It's whatever.
Yeah, it's good. And there are restaurants that have their own wear, their own gear. And normally it's like shirts or a cushion, like one of those inflatable cushions that you can use at like football games or what have you. Things like that.
Cool.
But now we have Whataburger running shoes. Because when I think of what I want to wear on my feet, I think, I want to wear the logo of the burger place that I can only go to every now and then because the closest one is 40 miles away.
And a burger chain for fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's right there.
Just no. That just. I mean, if you're going for it, fine. That's fine. But I just think it's weird.
There's no pictures. Are they even a good looking shoe?
Well, we actually have the link in our news file here. We can look it up real quick. And I mean, it's a shoe. It has the logo on there, on the side, and the name on the tongue.
Yeah.
In their colors.
Oh man, I love Pokemon. Which Pokemon did you get? I got Chew.
For some reason, I can't get the link to work for me. It's been weird. I can't hyperlink it.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, the other things that are on their store, including pillows, socks, a doormat, a flag, and a bow tie.
Bow ties are cool.
Yeah, bow ties are cool. But oh god, somebody needs to make fan art. 11th Doctor running around with a Whataburger bow tie. Just
yes.
The what a bow tie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So another Whataburger themed merch, which apparently is already there, such as a Yeti tumbler and a Pez dispenser.
What?
You mean like a drink?
Yeah.
Thing? Okay.
Oh! I thought you meant like a rock tumbler type thing for Yays.
Oh,
I'm not well.
I mean, I've got one of those. I mean, it keeps your drink nice and cold or warm if you want it. Like, it's good.
Yeah. Although I will say, if I get any kind of drink thing with logos on it, I've got one that has my girlfriend's webcomic logo on it. Had it for years. And he's good.
What? I've got some, like, every Christmas Nutella tend to do, like, little novelty glasses, so I've collected a few of those. The ones I did last year, I didn't manage to get the whole set, but they glow in the dark, because that's just awesome.
Casey and I have JoJo brandy glasses.
Nice!
Thank you, Holly, for that.
I have Jägermeister shot glasses as well that came with a gift set, like, with some Jaeger, so that's...
And
that.
I think at one point, I don't know if I still have it, but I think I still have a Lambic branded glass somewhere.
Cool.
Maybe. I picked it up at the World Market along with a bottle of apple Lambic, and I love the apple, by the way.
Well, I have, when I was working with the council, I used to find, like, glasses, like, just, in the street from the pubs. And if I wasn't sure which pub it was, I'd sometimes, because you can't leave glass lying around. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, because there's a few that were together, so I just put it on a random table. And sometimes I was like, I haven't got this one. So I actually do have a few branded beer glasses that I've just collected.
Nice.
So, The only way I don't like is his Stella glass. One, because Stella's rank, and two, it's overbalanced, so it's like, it drops easy. Like, it's... I don't know, it just doesn't sit right. It's kind of like a goblet fire, but not well balanced. It's... Yeah.
So, alright, I feel like we've worn this one out. So...
Some merch can be fun, otherwise it's a bit weird. There we go.
Yeah, but our next one, it's coming out of Florida. Take a shot.
Whee!
You might even need to take 2 shots, because I think this was on a recent episode of What the Fuck Is Wrong With You as well. But
Oh boy.
Out of Atlantic Beach, Florida. I feel like Rosen knows what's about to come. A Florida police department wants you to know that if you have recently purchased any illegal
this was on What the Fuck
street
Is Wrong With You.
Yep, told you. Take that shot.
Specifically meth.
Yep.
Oh, God.
You can bring it to their station to get tested for coronavirus. The Atlantic Beach Police Department posted the PSA on their Facebook page last week. The tongue-in-cheek post issues a warning that if you recently bought cocaine, meth, heroin, or any other street drugs in their area, it may be contaminated with coronavirus. The police department goes on to urge those to bring their drugs to the police department for free testing. I'm trying not to break here. If you're uncomfortable going to the police department, please say they will come to you in the privacy of your own home. They're that stupid.
I'm genuinely on the stance of fuck the police, but if you're stupid enough to fall for this,
Yeah.
You had this coming.
I mean,
Definitely.
on one hand, I mean, okay, yeah, anyone who's stupid enough to fall for this, I mean, kind of deserves it, but I mean,
Yeah.
It's kind of genius in its own way.
I want to say that no one's gonna fall for this, but on the other hand,
Meth
It's
heads.
Florida.
yeah, and Florida. So I mean,
A shit ton of people already have fallen for it.
yeah,
It's amazing.
But yeah, I just God, this one. I wonder how many other times that police departments have tried similar things, and whether or not it worked. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not only been tried before, but we talked about it on a previous episode of this very show. That would not surprise me at all.
I would not be surprised either.
Just wow. Wow. I don't think there needs to be much more to be said. Is there?
No.
Well, mild disagreement with Rosen's fuck the police policy, just because British police are nice.
We're talking the American police.
Yeah.
American police will frickin' shoot you just because you're black.
Yeah, that is true.
For your phone.
Which I don't agree with, so, there is that.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of Britain,
Guys,
Hello.
breaking news.
breaking news.
Alex Jones was just arrested
Oh my
Shut
God!
up!
What?
Oh my god! What did he do this time?
on a charge of driving while intoxicated.
Oh!
Well, you know what? He could still run for. He could still run for House of Representatives. Hi, Matt Gaetz. Hi. Hi. You're one of the representatives in my state. Go fuck yourself. So, anyway.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Alex Jones got arrested. Woohoo!
I'm verifying it right now. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So while he verifies that, we'll go on with this news story here, which I got from the BBC. And,
Oh, God. Okay.
And Virgin Media, they're based out of Britain, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I thought. So, yeah, very British. A customer database left unsecured online by Virgin Media contained details linking some customers to pornography and explicit websites. Researchers who first discovered the database told the BBC that it contained more information than Virgin Media suggested. Such details could be used by cybercriminals to extort victims.
I found a local news source. There's no more details available. Just that arrested at 12:37 a.m. Bond was set at $3,000. Released on bond at 4 a.m. That's all we know.
Oh, of course he was released on bond. Okay, so Virgin Media told the BBC only a small number of customers had these sensitive details in the database. UK telecoms company, well, if I'd read down further, I would have realized that Virgin Media is UK. But they revealed Thursday that one of its marketing databases containing details of 900,000 people was open to the internet and had been accessed on at least one occasion by an unknown user. Nice way to say, hey, your information is not as secure as we like it to be.
It never is.
No.
Nah.
I mean, in my own personal case, when it comes to my information, I don't really care that much. But when it comes to others, I do. So, yeah, this is some bullshit. On Friday, it confirmed that the database contained details of about 1,100 customers who had used an online form to ask for a particular website to be blocked or unblocked. It said it was in the process of contacting customers again about specific data that may have been stolen. Now, the site goes on to talk a little bit more about, how Virgin Media's fucked up and all of that, and they're looking into it and all of that. But I want to go back to this thing, extorting victims for, from what I can gather, would be, among other things, their porn habits. And I have a solution to this. I have a very, very big solution if you want to, do thwart any would-be extortionists out there. Own your porn, as in own your porn habits. If you like vanilla porn, own it. Yeah, I like watching porn. Own it. That way, it's like, hey, you were over at that Braz's place, weren't you? Like, yeah, what of it? I like it. But what about this kink side? It's like, I'm kinky, and the point I'm trying to make is let's take away the taboo of things like porn.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, have a separate account for not safe for work stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of what I do, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, just that is the best way to get rid of this just one way these extortionists can get to you. Now there are other ways that require other solutions, But we're not talking about that. We're talking about
Yeah.
this right here. So, Rosen, we're going to start with you this time. What do you have to say about this?
Don't trust that things are secure on the internet, because they're really not.
Yeah. Michelle?
It's slightly worrying because I'm with Virgin and I did get an email.
Did or did not?
I did.
Oh, damn. Oh, shit.
Basically, it was this kind of standard. There's been a data breach. Some information may have taken not your account stuff. We've already secured the plug, and you might want to change the passwords.
Okay.
And I was
So,
like, nothing about thing, but Virgin. And I guess a couple of other things, like because there's been a few things like with certain streaming sites, like the not your Prime Flix stuff, but your other more dodgy streaming sites.
right.
Because the laws changed in the UK, they basically you basically get a stay message due to current government legislation. You cannot view this website. Which,
Yeah.
if you've got a VPN, you can get around that anyway. But that's kind of a ball ache. But I mostly look at my porn on my phone, so I'm like, whatever. I own my porn habits. I don't care.
Ah. Oh.
And for the curious, BDSM.
There you go.
Although you do have to be very careful with getting certain tags out of the way, because there's a few things that I do not like. And if you don't block all the tags appropriate to to that thing, you do sometimes your mood's broken very quickly.
Yeah. So, Scolipendra?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as someone with anxiety, I am pretty worried about my information getting out there, even if I am vanilla. But, I'm still worried about that kind of shit. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pretty much do most of my browsing, whether or not it's porn, on incognito, and, I'm considering getting a VPN, but, yeah, the thing I'm worried about with VPN is, speed and shit, if it's gonna affect my internet speed, then that'd be a problem.
Right.
But yeah, it is kind of worrying that that this kind of thing got leaked. And oh god, I would not want to be freaking blackmailed with my browsing history, even though again, I don't really visit sketchy websites at all.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with that as well is most Britons don't care. I've mentioned liking stuff before. I've made mention of going to a particular website or a particular thing that people wait, what did they just say that? And they're they either laugh at me, look at me askance, or yeah, whatever. That's my social media. So it's it's kind of the cliche, no sex please, we're British, but most people just have a very live and let live attitude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what any potential blackmailer could necessarily get out of it, unless they got celebrities. Unless, and this is to the darker side, some of the stuff is the more, shall we say, the kid stuff, the stuff you definitely don't want to be associating yourself with. Then I could see the potential for actual, and to be fair, that's also the kind of stuff you probably maybe want to expose, even if it's I like that person. No,
Yeah.
but. Otherwise, I'm not sure what any possible extorter is going to get out of it.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of the BuzzFeed Unsolved episode where they talk about a blackmailing gang, and they're like, what is a blackmailing gang anyway? Is it just people going around being like, I saw this lady fucking a goat?
Oh boy.
Dang.
But
Wait, was she fucking the goat, or was she allowing the goat to fuck her? I need details.
Ask Shane Madej, I guess.
Oh, no.
Please don't actually.
So yeah, our last two are a little bit related because they deal with fast food, and this one comes out of San Antonio, the one in Texas as opposed to San Antonio, other places. They do exist. I just don't know where. Anyway, but San Antonio area woman is accused of robbing Sonic Drive-In car hop at. Okay. I'm going to try that again. A San Antonio area woman is accused of robbing Sonic Drive-In car hop attendants while her infant children were inside the vehicle with her. Monica Michelle Logan was arrested after a Sonic employee told Converse police that she was robbed on February 12th. In that incident at the Sonic on Farm Route 78, the employee said she was delivering a beverage to Logan's car when the suspect told the victim she had a gun and demanded the money in her apron. A second robbery happened the following day at the location on Kitty Hawk Road. That time, Logan again pointed a gun at the car hop and demanded cash. "I want the money inside of your apron," the employee said Logan told her, according to an arrest affidavit obtained by the local news. "If not, I'm going to shoot you." The employee noted that 2 infants, later confirmed to be a 1-year-old and an 8-month-old.
Fuck's sake.
Well, she didn't rest very long between them, did she? Were in the back seat of the car Logan was driving. Authorities were able to track down the license plate, though they later learned that the vehicle belonged to the suspect's boyfriend. The police interviewed Logan. She admitted to robbing the fast food restaurant with her kids in tow. She's since been charged with robbery, aggravated robbery, 2 counts of endangering a child. Well, no fucking shit on that last one. You have an actual gun with infants. And okay, this is where I say, okay, you really should not do this. Don't go around and rob, Sonic employees and all of that. But if you really must, if you're that hard up for cash, leave the infants at home. It says here she has a boyfriend. Why couldn't the boyfriend watch them for a little bit? She doesn't have to tell him what she's doing. That just makes sense to me. Yeah. So, Scolipendra, you start first on this one.
Yeah, that's pretty effing trashy. Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, people who neglect their kids are, yeah, let's just say I don't have a very high opinion of them.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't think any of us here do, really.
Yeah.
Rosen?
Sorry, can you repeat it? I've had a serious message.
Oh, you okay?
Everything's fine, just, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so lady arrested after robbing a couple of Sonic employees with a gun with literal infants in her car.
Oh. I was gonna be like, why is it on this show? And then the baby show. Don't bring your baby to a crime scene!
No!
Exactly.
No! Yeah, and you're right. If it wasn't for the babies, I likely wouldn't have put it on here. But you have babies with you. Literal babies! Michelle?
How much was the lady could have gotten anyway? Because I can imagine that at most she'd have like $5 worth of change in her apron. Like, you wouldn't bring the majority of the money out just to do the delivery. You'd have the change. You'd have maybe a little bit extra if they need. So, I mean, how much could she have even gotten? If you're going up to the full cash register and like saying, "Give me your money," that would make sense. But
Well, with Sonic, the aprons are basically the cash register.
okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
But you'd think I would just say what I needed if that were me. I'd just like, okay, this person's got X amount, maybe take a little extra for tips or if they need to make change for anything else.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily carry more than like $5-10 at most, depending on like the kind of ordering they were doing.
Yeah. And this also in San Antonio, people are going to be spending more. You're going to have larger bills too. So
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh lordy. And our last one.
And also fuck her.
Yeah, basically. Last one is out of New York City.
New York City!
Yeah, there you go. A worker at a McDonald's in New York City was arrested after allegedly smashing a coffee pot filled with hot water on the head of a customer following a dispute at the restaurant's drive-thru window. Police responded to a 911 call late Thursday night at McDonald's in the Bronx, where they found a man in his 30s with a deep cut on his neck, the New York Police Department told NBC. The McDonald's worker, Emily Reed, told police she and the man had a verbal dispute at the drive-thru window and that he spit at her. Which, yeah, don't spit at your employees, dude. They don't get paid enough for this shit. And she apparently had the same idea because she then grabbed a coffee pot and struck him with it, causing the cut to the left side of his neck. For those who don't know, McDonald's coffee pots are made of glass. The man was taken to the hospital where he remained Friday in stable condition. Reed, 24, was arrested at the restaurant, police said. She was charged Friday with 2 counts of assault, reckless endangerment, and criminal possession of a weapon. And it's unclear if she has a lawyer. Okay, I get the assault. I get the reckless endangerment, sure. Because, glass shards come flying everywhere. Where the fuck does the criminal possession of a weapon come into play? Are they considering the coffee pot the weapon? Because that's the only thing that would even remotely make sense. The rest of them, okay, fine, yeah. We definitely understand that you don't get paid enough to deal with a lot of this bullshit, and sometimes you lash out. And for that in and of itself, all right, I can't really condemn her too much because, really, haven't we all wanted to do something like that?
No, never.
Really?
Never. What are you talking about? Who's been talking to you?
Uh-huh.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. But suffice it to say, she did what many of us imagine doing. Sadly, these are also the consequences, which is worth it. Maybe. I hope so, at least. Because pretty sure McDonald's is probably going to fire her because of all this. And the reason why I am a little bit more on her side, everything else notwithstanding, is because the dude, they do a little bit of a shouting match, and that happens sometimes, that's a thing. But then he spit on her.
No.
Spit on her, spit at her, something like that. And it's like, dude, that's a little too far.
That's a bit, the belt.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily use a coffee pot. I would just slam the window door shut and just tell them to go fuck off even more and get management. But but then again, that's also if I have it. That's also at a point where maybe I'm in a better state of mind. Maybe she has been working all day dealing with customers similar to this guy, and he just happened to be the one to break the camel's back.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I have a thing for this.
Uh-oh, you have a thing for this.
I have a wrestling thing for this.
Okay.
There is a spot where in WCW back in the day, Kevin Nash jackknife powerbombed the Big Show. Keep in mind, was supposed to be 560 pounds at the time.
Right.
And Big Show didn't get up. Like, he didn't get up all the way to avoid dropping on his damn head.
Oh, no.
He dropped on his damn head.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
So I guess as, revenge, he smashed Kevin Nash with a coffee pot in story.
Oh, shit.
Oh, boy.
But from what I remember, they didn't use a fucking fake coffee pot.
Ooh.
Because that's just the way WCW rolled.
Yeah.
Well, then.
Read The Death of WCW if you want to understand a company truly failing in every aspect.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
It's a fascinating read. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to derail this with wrestling stuff. I'm just going to drop this in the chat, and then we'll move on.
Okay,
so... but yeah, so... I can I say we're pretty much all in agreement that, fuck the dude who spit at her, the consequences, they had to happen. And, I'm on Reed's side, honestly. Because it's like, you probably gonna lose your job, but you know what? Sometimes customers need to have the shit smacked out of them.
Yeah.
Fucking entitled motherfuckers.
Yep.
With that is going to be it for our show this week. If you want, we're going to do the curtain call segment a little bit after we finish up with this segment. So if you want to access that and you want to hear, things that we don't necessarily put on the main show, you can go over to patreon.com/Gomer21XX. Even $1 a month will get you access to that. At least as of right now. I think that I might stick around with that for right now until, things develop and who knows. But yeah, that as well as early episodes of everything that I do, unless it's a big updatey thing that everybody needs to know quickly, then yeah. But yeah, generally speaking, I try to have things up early. And again, that's patreon.com/Gomer21XX. And with that will actually help me segue into our outro. And speaking of Patreon, Scolipendra, you are a patron of mine. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on twitter.com/Scolipendra or Scolipendra91 at .tumblr.com.
Sweet. And Rosen, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Rosen_Thorne with an E at the end. That's also my Twitch. Patreon has no underscore, but it's spelled the same. Yeah, you can hear episodes of One Crazy Weekend one day early there. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, just be on the lookout for JoJo's Abridged Adventure coming pretty soon. We're in the final edits of episode 1. And then, every Thursday I'll be on aside from this week because of stuff, I'll usually be on Smarty stream at twitch.tv/tosmarty.
Sweet.
And that's about it.
All right. And Michelle, where can we find you?
Twitter at Phoenix11. That's PHEONIX. Same for my YouTube. Phoenix11. It's where I'm at. I don't do the Facebook or the Twitch stuff. So yeah, I do actually have a Patreon, which is kind of like a placeholder account, and because of circumstances, Zenith is my current and only patron. I don't kind of do early access or anything because most of my stuff is very rough and ready blog style, but it does exist, and that's under the same. It's under Phoenix11, but it's more of a, as I've put in the thing, it's more of a social experiment. It's like, hey, who wants to give me money? Because reasons.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, and for me, besides the aforementioned Patreon, you can also find me on the Twitters, the Tumblrs, the YouTubes at Gomer21XX. Want to find me on Facebook? Go find Gomer the Ranting Thespian over there on the Facebooks. Of course, there are also links to the Discord for not only my own personal Discord, but also Thespian Talks Discord down there in the doobly-doo, or at least they should be there. If not, then at least one of them should be there. Probably the Thespian Talk one, but that's okay. You come in, hang out, talk with people, and you can even submit stories over in the news channels, which actually Scolipendra has done a few times over the course of the show. So, so that's something you can do in there. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I do want to try and get back into Twitch streaming again. Still working on fiddling with schedules and what I'm going to do around all of that. Considering now I have a good Switch setup, and, well, we got Pokemon. So, yes, I am very much a shiny hunter. So I think that is it. Oh yeah, and of course this podcast can be found on rtgomer.com, as well as your favorite podcast app and your site, which I am surprised to find that probably through Anchor, we somehow ended up on Luminary. So that's like, okay. Luminary, the app itself is free, but if you want to get the premiere stuff or what have you got to pay a little bit a month. Some shows are behind that paywall. I'm happy to say that there are a lot of shows on Luminary that are not behind a paywall. So guys, I mentioned that because I mentioned when Guys We Fuck move over to Luminary under their the premiere paywall, I had a little bit of a thing about it, but it's a little bit eased up now, considering I know it's like, okay, it's not all paid. Good. Okay. But yeah, I think that is just about it. If you're a patron, stick around. We'll see you at the curtain call. And until next time, this is Gomer, the Ranting Thespian, with Scolipendra, Rosen Thorne, and Michelle, signing off.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Bye.